Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike, the old fish hobo, here at Northwest School of Fly Fishing. And after 30 years, over 3 decades of teaching fly fishing, one of the most asked questions that I've ever had anyway in fly fishing is how to add that dropper fly and what knot that we use to tie it around the bend of the hook. So in fly fishing, in dry fly fishing, we might want to fly fish 2 flies, one an adult pattern or an emerger pattern, and maybe another emerger pattern behind it at about 12 inches. Or in nymphing, we might want to do another nymph, which will raise our nymph up. Or we want to do a hopper dropper or a dry dropper. In any case, we want to tie a knot around the bend of the hook. And that knot is called a spring knot. Or in other words, another way of calling it is a clinch knot. So I dusted off some of the archives at Northwest School of Fly Fishing, and I put together this video that will show clear instructions of me and on a table being filmed with paracord, so that you can see how intricate I am doing it. And then at the very end, I want you to stick around because I'm actually on the river tying it with real tippet. And you see the process all the way through. And for all you old fish hobos out there, you're going to smile because you've been doing this for a long time. And you guys out there have been fly fishing and been struggling with this knot. This will help you too. And you beginners, you need to know this knot. It's going to prevent you from tying with your hands like this and getting all kinds of hackle and stuff caught in your knot. Next thing, instead of your tail being up, your tail's being bent down. So without further ado, here it comes. Spring knot is what we use to tie around the bend of the hook to add another fly to it. And we call it a spring knot because we use our finger here as a spring. To tie this knot properly, you have to have your hand in a fist so the finger is pointing out. This is really important because that spring will hold open the clinch knot. So it's called a spring knot. However, we're tying a clinch knot. We take the monofilament, we put it on our spring. We reach down here about 1.5 inches below the finger, and we wrap that, or what we call helicopter that, 7 times. With our snap fingers, we pinch it, and the knot's tied. We use that spring right here to hold open that area there so we can keep or finish our clinch knot. So the tag-in, what the tag-in does, the tag-in goes through that little spring knot is what we use to tie around the bend of the hook to add another fly to it. And we call it a spring knot because we use our finger here as a spring. To tie this knot properly, you have to have your hand in a fist so the finger is pointing out. This is really important because that spring will hold open the clinch knot. So it's called a spring knot. However, we're tying a clinch knot. We take the monofilament, we put it on our spring. We reach down here about 1.5 inches below the finger, and we wrap that, or what we call helicopter that, 7 times. With our snap fingers, we pinch it, and the knot's tied. We use that spring right here to hold open that area there so we can keep or finish our clinch knot. So the tag-in, what the tag-in does, the tag-in goes through that little loop that we created, and then the tag-in is then pulled straight down with the leader into a knot, using the spring to hold it open. With our snap fingers again, we hold that knot. Now the knot is tied. We now want to transfer that knot onto the bend of the hook, and we do that by pulling the knot off the fly in the direction that my finger is pointing. So I'm transferring this knot to this hook by pulling it off like that. We slide down until the tag-in releases and then pull tight. And that will add your dropper now. The dropper will be right within where you want it. And now we're fishing a lead fly and a dropper, 2 nymphs together, a dry fly and an emerger. You're fishing what we call flies in tandem. So we'll run that by one more time. I'll kind of do it in real time this time. Make a fist, a finger, that's our spring. We put our
our tippet material or our nylon on there, and we grab it at an inch and a half. We helicopter it 6 times. With our snap fingers, we hold it together. To finish the knot, we take the tag in. It goes through the opening that we created with our spring. We take the tag in and the leader, we pull them down together into a knot. We pinch the knot. We take the fly that we want to add it to, and we transfer that via the direction that our finger's pointing. We pull it off. We slide it down until the tag in releases, and we pull tight and are ready to tie our dropper fly on. A spring knot is when we tie around the bend of the hook, right here, another piece of tippet material. And we use this piece of tippet material to tie on a dropper fly, another nymph, an emerger, or whatever. But we need to add a piece of tippet from the bend of the hook to the dropper fly. And how we do that is very simple. We simply take the fly that we already have tied on, and we just hang it up on our guide, like that. It's out of the way. Then we come over and grab some tippet material. And I always like to use more tippet material than I need. It's better to err on too much than not enough. And we completely cut that free. Now I have probably about a 2.5 foot piece of tippet material right here. And this is what the spring knot we're going to tie around the bend of the hook. So first thing we want to do is create that spring. Now on that spring, we're going to put the tippet material we want. It looks like that. We're going to pinch that right at about 1.5 inches, and we're going to turn that 7 times. Just like that, 7 times. With our snap fingers, we're going to hold that knot. Now, it can be blowing windy, it can be doing, nothing's going to hurt that knot. Now we're going to complete the clinch knot by taking the tag end, putting it through that hole you created, bringing it down into a knot. There it is. The knot's tied. Now we just have to transfer it onto the hook. At this point, what we do is we take the fly off our guide and we transfer that spring knot or clinch knot right onto the bend of the hook, simply taking it like that, sliding your hand all the way down until the tag end releases, and it slides all the way up to the bend of the hook. At that point, we trim and start tying on our other fly. That's the spring knot. Very versatile knot. If you're a 2-fly fisherman or 3-fly fisherman, then this is a knot that you're going to be using. It's easy to tie. You can tie it in any kind of weather or any kind of wind.